Welcome everyone to the webinar, and I do need your comments in the chat box before we go ahead. We need this to be really interactive. So let's see what we have. So we have Vignesh, who's a senior research executive. We have Meeta from Mumbai, who's heading up HR at Urbanity. We have Tejas from Ahmedabad. He's a Salesforce developer. We have Vasudev from Chennai, right? And we have Hina from New York. She's doing an MS in Information Sciences. Welcome, Hina. We've got Venkatesh from Chennai, is a web developer. It's great, Venkatesh. Let's see, Ridwan's from South Africa, and he's actually an analyst. So Ridwan, you might want to chat with everyone so everyone can actually see your chat comments. And Vasudev from Chennai is a data analyst who is looking forward to, looking for a job. That's great, Vasudev. We've helped a lot of people get placed. So hey, so it's great to see your introductions. Now let's move ahead very quickly, folks, right? We have started the recording. Just a very little bit about us. Our mission is to make sure that each and every learner can help draw insights from the vast amounts of data that we're facing on a daily basis and better the state of their economy, their nation, or their country. And that's our mission. That's our goal that we're actually living with, right? Now, apart from that, I want to talk about some things that differentiate EquiSkill.com from some of the other players that are there in the market. First up, we're real analytics professionals. We're not trainers. So you will see from our experiences that we've worked with some of the top Fortune 500 companies. We've got more than 2 decades of experience at companies like Amazon, a small class size, which means that we get to pay more attention to each one of you. And most importantly, and this is something that is close to our hearts, we believe that the only way you can learn analytics is by practicing. So we have a methodology called the click and follow analytics workshops, where you actually get to click and follow and practice with us. You might have noticed that we requested some of you to actually download Tableau for today's class and actually even download some data. So the idea is even today, if you'd like to practice, there's a little bit that you can do towards the end of the class. So that's just a little bit about us, and I'm going to move ahead now. And if you have any questions, don't feel shy to stop us. Now, a little bit about our experiences. So I, for example, let me talk about me. I am I'm a computer engineer, so basically a bachelor's in information sciences, to be more specific, from the University of Delhi, and I'm an MBA, and I've got 12 plus years of experiences. I've worked for the longest time at Amazon.com, and then the General Electric Research and Design Center, the Jack F. Welch Technology Center, and then Citi Global Analytics and Insight, that's actually headquartered in New York. So I've been with these companies, and before that I'd started my career up with L&T and Computer Sciences Corporation, which is more on the EPC and the services side. Now, my faculty for R, and we actually learn R and Tableau in this program along with SAS. So I actually personally teach Tableau. I'm really passionate about it. And the faculty for R is Ujjwal. Ujjwal is from the Indian School of Business, one of the top business schools in Asia, and he's working at HSBC as someone who does analytics for the corporate banking of HSBC, right? So that's what Ujjwal does, and that's a little bit about some of the trainers. We also have another trainer who teaches us SAS, and he's an expert in SAS. He's actually worked with Amex, which is American Express, in their analytics division, right? And he's called Gaurav. So that is our third trainer. So in short, you're going to learn analytics from corporates in this particular certification program, and these are the people that are going to take you through this journey. At any point of time, if you have questions, please stop me. So here we go. We actually have trained people from a bunch of companies, and it's hard to point out some of the companies is what we've got here on the screen. So we have trained folks from Microsoft, Citi, Texas Instruments, Ernst & Young, KPMG, ABB, John Deere, and Target. We're also the faculties for analytics at the Symbiosis International University and some of the other B schools like Narsi Monji. We frequent regularly for teaching analytics. Okay. Now, why are we here today? So someone tell me, why should you know analytics? I mean, what changed in the world in the last 3 or 4 years because of which you really need to know analytics? Can I get your responses in the chat box, right? Okay, Barry says, kindly illustrate previous experience with Cognizant later. Okay, Barry, absolutely. So we'll talk about that, right? So we've got learners from Cognizant who actually joined the Analytics Accelerator certification. So we'll talk about that. Tell me, why do you need to know data analytics in the chat box? What changed in the world? Let's talk about it, right? So 10 years ago, you didn't need to know analytics, but today you do. So Meeta says to make better decisions. How about everybody else? Tejas, Umesh, Vasudev, Venkatesh, Vignesh, Ridwan, Shanta. Why do you, Oin? Why do we need to know analytics? Hina, Vikash, you've just joined, right? So why do we need to know analytics? Come on, folks, in the chat box, everyone. We need to have interaction, folks. If this is going to be interesting, I get really excited when I see your responses. So please make bad guesses, okay? The most important thing, a bad guess is how you learn, okay? So I'm going to put this in the chat box as a little comment. Please make bad guesses now. So Vasudev says analytics is the future. So much data is being generated. You need insights. RK says, Vidwan says informed decisions. Berry says it will enhance my decision making. Umesh says we were less connected. Today we're connected and there's way too much data and analytics is useful. Hina says to make better decisions from data and understand what data is telling us, the story behind the data. And great responses from Venkatesh. Vignesh says data analytics makes decisions fast and precise. And Oin says not to guess decisions, but to make good decisions and predict the future. Okay, superb. Now, this is more like the kind of class we like, okay? Let's see here. Tejas says better decision making. Okay, superb. Folks, I want to thank you. It's great that you actually shared those responses, and I want to talk about what's happening every minute on the internet. That's right, you heard me right. Every minute on the internet, there are 277,000 tweets. Oh my God. And we've got, for example, 72 hours of video on the internet every minute. We've got close to millions, 2.5 million shares on Facebook. And just look at what's going on with Yelp, Skype, right? Emails, close to 20 million emails in a minute. Google searches, 4 million Google searches in a minute. So it's really exploding, okay? And that's the only way to describe this, folks, okay? It's exploding with data. And the truth is that today there's 2.5 quintillion bytes of data on the internet. In fact, in the world, let's just talk about the world. And the approximation about how what's going to change is in 2 years from now, okay, it's going to be 5 quintillion bytes of data. You heard me right. So it's going to double. It's going to be 200% growth in 2 years. Now that's crazy, right? Even inflation or the cost of bread and butter sort of increases by, let's say, 100% in close to 5 years or 10 years, depends on which country you're in. So imagine something that's going to double, right, 200% in exactly 2 years. And that's what's happening with data. Not only that, what you notice is that you've got data in every shape and every form possible. So as you can see here, you've got data in structured and unstructured formats. And what do I mean by that, right? So if you think of it, structure is really about tables. And the moment you have a table and the table has, rows and the table has columns, and that is structure. So you can query it, you can ask questions from that. But over here you've got, well, what do you have? You've got chat. So you've got text, you've got images, you've got video, right? You've got a bunch of things, right? So this is big data. And whenever people talk about big data, really what you're talking about is 3 V's. And let me talk about the 3 V's right now, okay? And you'll remember this, it'll be nice and easy for you. You're never going to forget. The first V is volume, and there's a huge volume of data on the internet. And the second V is variety, and the third V is velocity, right? So volume, velocity, and variety. In fact, the second one is velocity, and the third one is variety. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is there's a huge volume of data. It's coming really fast at us. It's growing by the day, and there's a huge amount of variety. So these are the 3 V's. Okay, if anyone were to ask you of big data, the 3 V's are volume, variety, and velocity. Now, there's a couple of other V's like variety, but we'll talk about that later. For these reasons, for the reasons that data is exploding at the rate at which it is, the reality is that today we've got data science reaching number 2 in the most popular jobs worldwide, right? It is behind only the cloud computing, right? Which is why, for example, Amazon Web Services or even Google now has just launched their cloud services, right? And that happens to be the number 1 job in the world. But really, very close to that and up neck by neck with that is statistical analysis and data mining, basically data science. And it's one of the hottest jobs of the 21st century, right? Okay. Feel free to ask questions, folks. Yeah, absolutely. Do not be shy. The only thing I love more than a good question is a bad question. Okay, so if you've got a bad question, throw it at me. I love it. Okay, we really like your participation. Look, I want to ask you a question. Okay, honest question. So, what business is Facebook in? Simple question. What is the business that Facebook is in? In the chat box, folks. What business is Facebook in? They're in the business of doing what? There we go. We've got some responses, 4 responses in the chat box. Okay, Vignesh is smart. He says data gathering, data, selling data, says Ashima, analytics, social networking. Okay, well, I would pardon you if you think that Facebook is in the business of social networking or that LinkedIn is in the business of professional networking, right? That's what we'd all think, isn't it? Umesh and Venkatesh are also saying the same thing. But today, folks, the reality is that the only business that they're all into, Facebook, LinkedIn, they're all into the business of data, right? End of the day, you think that they're into social, connecting people. Sure, that's what's sort of getting them the traffic on their websites. But the real business that they're into is the business of data. The reality is that in the 80s, the top companies were actually in the business of oil. So if some of you remember Chevron, Exxon, Mobil, right? And these were the companies in the 80s that were making a lot of money, right? And there were Chevron, Exxon, Mobil, and all of these companies, oil companies. But today we say that data is the new oil. We also say data is the new soil. And you'll hear this quotation, a lot, and you can use this quotation, right? And Ridwan says big data, so you can use this quotation yourself as well. And data is the new oil and the new soil. Now the question is, what are the different kinds of data? And before I go there, I need to ask all of you, put it into the chat box. Tell me, what are the different kinds of analytics that you have heard of? I'd like to welcome Sai Krishna to the webinar. Hi Sai. Sai, I've unmuted you. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Sai here. I'm doing good, thank you.
All right, superb, Sai. Thanks. You haven't missed a lot, Sai. So just stay with us, okay?
Great. Thank you so much for your understanding. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
I
all
thought
right.
I was very happy that
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
great.
Okay, Sai, thanks a ton. So everyone in the chat box, what are the different kinds of analytics? Okay, so we've got Bikash saying descriptive, inferential, prescriptive. Umesh says customer insight analytics, financial analytics. Everybody else, has anyone heard of big data analytics? Come on, put it in the chat box, folks. What are the different kinds of analytics you've heard of? Come on, everyone. Marketing, finance, HR, analytics. Meeta says absolutely. Vasudev says descriptive, precipitative. Okay, I think he means predictive. Vignesh says visual analytics. Okay, that's great, Vignesh. Yes, okay. Let's keep going, folks. Okay, how many have heard of data analytics? You've heard the word data analytics. Okay, financial analytics, logarithmic analytics. Okay, fantastic. Look, I want to simplify this a little bit, right? There's so many different kinds of analytics that I just want to talk about this for a quick minute, right? And Hina says HR analytics, big data analytics, absolutely. So I want to simplify this, folks, right? Simplify this in a way that becomes really, really easy for us to understand what are the really 3 different kind of analytics, and how are they different from each other. So some good comments from Vasudev, and let me just dive into this straight away, right? The 3 kinds of analytics are descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. Okay, and you want to sort of keep this in your mind, right? So you've got predictive, prescriptive, and descriptive. And Ridwan has a question which I will answer very shortly. Okay, Let me talk about the three kinds of analytics and just focus here, for a minute, with me on the screen, right? First up, I'm going to talk about descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is very easy. So in HR, if a lot of employees are resigning and leaving the company, what question does the HR manager ask? A lot of employees are resigning, so what's the next logical, simple question that any HR manager would ask? Come on, in the chat box. Everyone, in the chat box, come on. Okay, so we've got a comment. Exactly. So Vasudev and Ashima say, why are they leaving the company? Right? And we've got very similar comments coming from the other people. Darshan has a very good question. What is the attrition percentage? You're right, Darshan. Meeta says, why are they leaving? What are the reasons for leaving? And level of job satisfaction. Okay, fantastic. Now, let me put this out here, right? Some of you talked about this in a very good way. You asked, why are they leaving the company, right? Now, the moment you ask, a lot of people leave the company, you will ask, why are they leaving? You might also ask questions like, what is the reason for their leaving, which is basically asking the same question, why are they leaving? And how many people are leaving? So the percentage of attrition, right? And one of you just spoke about that, right? So let's talk about this, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to describe attrition in the business, right? That's it. And the simple thing that you do, the first thing you do in analytics is you describe how things are going on in your business, right? And in fact, even more than why, you ask the question, what is going on in your business? Okay. So really, the question that you're trying to answer here, okay, is what is going on in my business? And let me just put it here, right? And what is going on is that there's a lot of attrition, and this is in hindsight. So you want to know what just happened: attrition last month, attrition in the last 6 months, attrition in the last 1 year, right? So all of these questions are about what happened in my business in the last, few moments, or in the last particular time. After you ask that question, the next logical question, if I tell you that attrition has gone up and we're now looking at a 28% attrition, you're alarmed that 28 out of 100 people are leaving. So you ask the question, why are they leaving? So you try to figure out why are things happening the way they are, and you try to even forecast how many are going to leave, at the end of the year. You try to put together your forecast so that you can actually do some hiring and figure out by end of the year how many are going to leave. So this is advanced forecasting, this is simulation or modeling. You also try to predict possibly who's going to leave next. So you use logistic regression, right? So whenever you ask the question, why are things happening, you try to understand and gain insight on why things happening the way they are in the business. It's called predictive analytics. And finally, you want to know what should we do going forward. For example, Amazon.com has a recommendation engine. So if you buy a wireless mouse, the next product that they would try to sell you is what? So take a guess. I buy a wireless mouse on Amazon. Now, what is the next product Amazon will try and sell me? Any guesses, folks? I worked for Amazon for years, but I think all of you can take reasonably good guesses to this question. Come on. Okay, wireless keyboard, says Hina, you're right. It could be a battery, it could be a mouse pad. Absolutely, right? So this is nothing but a technique known as market basket analysis. Okay, it's called MBA. We teach market basket analysis in the program, and it can be used to have a look at your basket and see what is already in your basket and figure out what could we then try to sell you next. And it's called market basket analysis. So this is nothing but prescribing what to do next in the business, okay, or how to proceed in the future. So if I were to simplify this for you, I know it's a little bit of a simplification, and understand that these are not watertight compartment. There are intersects between all of these, but in very simple terms, descriptive analytics is about saying what is going on in my business. All of the charts, the dashboards, the MISs that you make, reports, your BI is all a part of descriptive analytics, followed by predictive analytics, which is why is it happening and how much is it going to affect us in the future, right? And then finally followed by what should we doing going forward to increase the business or improve things, for us. So what now? What do we do now? How do we move forward to the future, which is prescriptive analytics? Okay. And really, these are the only three kinds of analytics that there are. So you've got a question for me. You probably want to know, what's big data analytics, and what are the other kinds of analytics that we're hearing about these days. And let me just talk about that for a quick second, right? I'm sorry, we had some disturbance there. I've muted a few people. So if you think about it, big data analytics is really when the data set starts exceeding a certain size, and it's hard to say that it's just 1 GB, but usually, above a GB, you do need big data tools, okay, to actually, perform that analytics on the data. So you start using tools like Hadoop. You might use tools like Spark and Scala, right, for data that is really, really big. Now, sometimes if you've got Hadoop and Scala installed, you might even do it for data sets of greater than 300 MB because it's really stable as compared to R. And R does well up to 300 MBs of data, but beyond that, it becomes very slow. So people start using big data tools to perform the analytics. The same techniques that you see here, nothing different, okay? Exactly the same techniques, but then they call it big data analytics, okay? Typically, this is for data that is large. It can also be for data that is real time. It keeps coming, it keeps changing, it's not static, and the analytics that you perform is known as big data analytics. But mind you, you could even do data analytics or business analytics on smaller data sets that could be real time, right? When you do analytics for a business, you typically then start calling it business analytics, okay? Now you could do it for the government as well, and then you might not call it business analytics, you might just call it data science. But when you do it for businesses that are trying to drive things like profit and loss, they're trying to drive business measures, like EBIT. They're trying to drive measures like profit after tax, minimize the tax, right? All of these analytics are known as business analytics, which is applying data analytics to the realm of business, okay? Now, further still, if you want to keep, simplify it, when I drill down from business and I say, hey, in business, I want to apply this specifically on finance or on HR, then they start calling it HR analytics, or they start calling it financial analytics. But really, it is all descriptive, predictive, or prescriptive analytics at the heart of it, okay? And I hope that kind of really helps simplify things for you. Are we all clear now on the different kinds of analytics? Say yes in the chat box, and if you have a question, please do ask me now before I talk about the tools that we use to perform these analytics. Okay, Umesh is clear. Ashima, Tejas, yes. Vasudev, yes. Hina, yes. Okay. So never forget, folks, you have descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. And Darshan has a question. Darshan, go ahead. And Venkatesh, just give a clear idea on the path. Venkatesh, do you mean career path? Please let me know in the chat box. You recommended Hadoop and others rather than R for big data analytics, Behri says. It depends on the size of the data, okay? So you would want to use R and Python also, typically, for data sets that are smaller than 1 GB, or let's say around 200, 100 MB, 200 MB. You'd be perfect using R and Python. There's no challenge whatsoever. Now, I just wanted a couple of clarifications. Someone asked me, Venkatesh said, just give a clear idea on the path. So Venkatesh, do you mean career path? And then someone had a question. Darshan had a question. So Darshan, can you type out your question? Okay, so the difference between predictive and prescriptive is not very clear. Can't we use simulation and modeling to make future predictions as well? Okay, so the important thing to realize, right, is that there are intersections. And what I had mentioned earlier on in the class is that these are not watertight, okay? So one of the things that people like to think about is that are these definitions watertight? So is there a boundary here that is absolutely inseparable, or are there overlaps? So the reality is that there tend to be overlaps at the border, right? Okay, so in some way, there is an overlap. For example, when you reach simulation and modeling, especially when you reach modeling, right? Once you have modeled how things are going to look in the future, you can, kind of figure out next logical step would be, what should I do? Okay, but what should you do is different from how things are going to look in the future. Okay, right? So while there are some inter overlaps, but clearly you can see these boundaries as nebulous boundaries, right? Okay, so can everyone hear me clearly? Owen seems to have a challenge. Say yes, you can hear me well if you can hear me well, yeah? Okay, Tejas, Meeta. So Owen, can you please log out and log in? Probably an internet issue at your end, maybe. Okay. Everyone else can hear me well. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, right, Darshan? Okay, he says yes, it's absolutely clear now. Let me see if there were any more questions. Just a second. How is analytics different from analysis? And Behri says, do I recommend Hadoop? Okay, so this is great. So folks, this is a great question. Okay, so what you want to talk about now for a quick second is, how is it that analytics is different from analysis? So in traditional analysis, right, you use techniques that are not data science techniques. So let me give you some examples. You use a SWOT analysis. Can anyone tell me what is a SWOT analysis? SWOT? Okay, so some of you may have heard it, right? What are the full forms of SWOT? Come on, folks, everyone in the chat box. Take a guess, come on. Okay, here we go. We get some responses here now. This makes this interesting. Absolutely. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So these are strengths, these are weaknesses, these are opportunities, and these are threats, right? So when you analyze a business in terms of SWOT, you are doing an analysis, but it is not a quantitative analysis, okay? Now, apart from that, you might actually use a quantitative technique. For example, I might look at the past attrition, okay? And last year, if the attrition was 9%, I might try to extrapolate that this year it's going to be 9%. But am I right? Is this a good guess? How many of you think that using just the data from the past to predict the future and say it's going to be exactly the same is a good idea? Or for example, if I use traditional business analysis and I see that a mutual fund has grown, let's say 5, 7, 9, 10, and 15% in the last 5 years, would it then be fair to use this and say it's going to grow by 18% next year? Or is there a better way of doing this, right? So that's a great question that we got. And the answer is that traditional analysis does not use advanced data science techniques. It actually ends up using either models, which are actually models like the SWOT model, which is very subjective, okay? And it is not objective, or it uses techniques that are actually legacy techniques, right? For example, using the past data and trying to infer the future data without modeling. No model is created. And when you try to do that, what you're trying to do is analysis without analytics. But when you try to use models that actually utilize advanced statistics, for example, regression, right, then what you're trying to do is analytics. Is that clear now? Okay, I hope I answered that question. Can you say yes in the chat box so I know I answered your question? Okay, let me just see very quickly. Right, so he got it. Okay. Okay, now another really important question. I really love your questions, folks. This group is superb. Very active, and I love your questions. So another really important question is, what tools should we use? And people are really confused about this question, right? And they're like, oh my God, like there's so many tools out there in the market. What do I learn, right? Okay, so subjective and objective. Vasudev Rao has a beautiful question. So let me answer Vasudev's question for a quick second. Vasudev says, what's the difference between subjective and objective? Excellent question, Vasudev. So anyone wants to take a shot at this before I proceed? Come on, folks, we need to learn from each other as well. Difference between subjective and objective. It's really, really easy. Okay, but I'd love to see your answers. Okay, what matters is not what I think, but all of you need to apply yourself in this webinar and go out learning something. So what's the difference between subjective and objective? Okay, extrapolate, says RK. All right, thank you, Ridwan. Everybody else? Subjective concept varies on one or more factors, says Darshan. Okay, objective is specific, maybe number, says Ashima. Meeta says subjective is open-ended, objective is closed-ended. Darshan says objective are the same regardless of observers. Now, this is superb. Okay, let's all say a round of applause for Darshan, right? So I'm going to say applause in the chat box, right, for Darshan. Okay, just focus on what Darshan said, right? He says, regardless of observers, the objective output remains the same. And this is the closest, right, that we got to answering this question, this great question that we got. Okay, so let me answer it now. Objective analysis is analysis that does not have any human bias. Okay, and there are a lot of human biases. There are close to 100 plus documented biases that human beings have. For example, human beings have a bias called the overconfidence bias, where we tend to depend too much on small data. We have a very small data set. For example, a dog bit me yesterday, and today I believe that every dog out there is evil. Okay, this is a classic example of overconfidence bias, or a data bias. There are many more biases, right? This is actually underconfidence, but there are many more biases. For example, you want to read about the anchoring bias. The very first data set that I see influences my thinking tremendously. So I believe a lot in the first data set that I see. This is known as the anchoring bias, and I ignore the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth data set. The best example of this is, if I have a bad experience with someone the first time that I meet them, I'm likely to dislike them for the rest of my life. And this is known as the anchoring bias. But not just this, there are close to 100 plus biases that human beings have, and there must be a book on this. So you want to read a book called The Art of Thinking Clearly. Okay, it's a fantastic book. You will, if you don't like this, I'm willing to send you the money no matter where you are in the world. Okay, and the author is Rolf Dolbelli, and this talks about all of the different human biases which lead to bad decision making. We end up making subjective decisions which are influenced by human bias, as opposed to objective, which are not influenced by human biases. That's it. That's the simplest definition that I can give you of subjective and objective. Do not forget it. And Bikash, you're hilarious. Bikash says my managers have an anchoring bias problem. All right, that's haha, that's hilarious, Bikash, and I hope they get over it, right? All right, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, okay, many managers. Bikash says not my manager. Bikash says many managers. Okay, Bikash, I got it there. Fantastic, I believe you, man. Okay, so I hope we are now clear on what's the difference between analysis and analytics. Vasudev says LOL. Let's move ahead, folks. Before we move ahead, another really important point coming up. Which language do I need to learn, and which language can I do without? Do I need to learn R or Python? Do I need to learn SAS? What do I need to learn to have a successful career in data analytics? So before I answer the question, I need your answers. So tell me now, folks, which language do you think are really important for you to learn for analytics? In the chat box, come on, everybody. R Python says Hina. R says Meeta. Okay. R and Python. Okay, says Vasudev. Now that's great. What about Vignesh says SAS? Okay. Okay. Ashima says even before the languages, concepts and techniques. That is a very good answer. Bikash says R, Python, and SAS. How about data visualization, folks? So none of you have mentioned any data visualization tool. Do you think that there's any use of doing analytics if you cannot create great visualizations for your business leaders? Do you think that senior business leaders are interested in R code? or programming? All right, you got your answer. So Vasudev and Vignesh have answered correctly. You need to learn tools like Tableau and ClickView, either one of those tools, okay? Fantastic. So I'm going to put this down on the board now. We've answered it in, and you guys are also great. I don't know why I'm even talking here, right? For predictive analytics, it is important that you pick one out of three. R, you could learn SAS, okay? And you could also learn Python, right? Now, let me talk about this for a quick minute over here, okay? And just spend some time here, right? How long will it take to learn R and Python? You will be done in exactly 2 months. You will be an expert in R and Tableau, right, Ridwan? And Vignesh says, I'm a Tableau beginner. That's great, Vignesh. Tableau is actually used hugely in the industry right now. Okay, so let me talk about this a little bit. SAS is the statistical application software, right? And believe it or not, it was developed in 1969, and R and Python were developed both in the 90s, okay? And it's hard to believe this, but they've become so popular now. Now, up to, let's say, around 5 years ago, I would have said you need to learn SAS if you want to enter analytics. But things have changed, folks. So today, you need to learn R or Python. Up to 3 years ago, I would have said Python was actually the language that was, touted to be number one. But today, in the year 2017, it has now become a very big battle between two titans, R and Python. And today, it's anyone's guess, okay? But I would say if you learn any of these two from a predictive analytics standpoint, you should be perfectly fine, right? Now, predictive, if you look at it, right, Darshan says, how come Python has become, so popular in predictive? And the whole reason, Darshan, that's a great question, right? The whole reason is that there's open source libraries, and everyone is allowed to actually put together libraries in R and Python. So globally, you have a lot of libraries, and in Python, you've got libraries like NumPy, you've got Panda, right? And you've got a very good library that just came in text mining, and you've also got the same thing. You've got a sentiment library in R, and you've got many more good libraries in R as well. So both of these have become very popular, and the battle is a raging one. There's camps out there. Now, if any of you are interested, you should actually have a look at this link. Let me just show you now. Okay, just give me a second here, folks, while I pull this up for you. You're going to love this link. Just give me a second. Common problems faced in analytics as a beginner. Sure, I'll share that. Okay. So datacamp.com has a very good article on R versus Python, right? And I'm just going to open, this article. And this is such a nice link. I'd like to share it with all of you, right? There we go. And if you go down, you realize that there's a war out there, right, between R and Python. Okay, and what you will see is that both of them started out somewhere in the 90s. R started out a little later, 1995, and Python in 91. And both of them, are for good data analysis, but R Python is also for IT, right? And if you use statistics, data science, you might use R a lot. But if you're going to work in hardcore engineering and coding, then you might actually like Python more, right? And if you look at it, both of them have very good communities, Stack Overflow, and there's so many good articles and free code that you can get on both of them. Statistical models, can be written in just a few lines in R, and this is the reason why data scientists prefer R, right? Python, the coding and debugging is better, but if you look at the statistical libraries, there's no question that R is going to be coming out right on top. Okay. Okay, I'll keep going now. In terms of flexibility, a lot of complex formulas can be done really well in R. Python can be, used to create new formulas, and it's really easy to create libraries in Python. So I'll skim down. I'll share this link with you. But as you can see, what's happened over a period of time is that Python used to be really popular. It's come down a little bit in the numbers now. but R has gone up in the numbers, and now the gap has become very, very narrow between the two. I think the deciding thing is, if you're going to be in a production environment in IT, right, a lot of people prefer Python, but if you're going to be a data scientist, data science, or data analytics, a lot of people prefer R. Okay, I hope that helps, right? Is this useful for everyone? Would you like to have this link, everyone, in the chat box, please? Yes. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I've shared the link in the chat box, and I'll actually add this link to the document. I've got a document that I'm going to give all of you at the end of the class. Okay, here we go. This is the document, and we've got R versus Python, the battle of the giants, in this document for you, right? Okay, RK says question mark. RK, did you have a question for me? RK wants some advice. So RK, what advice were you looking for? Ridwan? Okay, yes. So the road forward. Okay, so RK, we're going to be, covering that in the webinar. Okay, so we'll talk about it, very, very shortly, right? R and Python, how do you learn that? Okay, here we go. So just stay with me, Ridwan. We're going to be covering this very shortly, right? Okay, so we all know the different kinds of analytics, and we all know that it's really important for you to learn one tool for predictive analytics, and you can choose from R and Python. We would recommend R for those that are interested in data science and data analytics. For those that are in IT, you could go with Python. For data science or data analytics, business analytics, we would actually recommend R, not Python. One language is more than enough. But Ashima said the concepts and the techniques are more important. So which technique to apply on what data is something you will learn in the analytics accelerator. You also need to learn a tool. So you need to learn Tableau or ClickView. Now Gartner has now rated Tableau as the #1 tool in the industry. So currently we're going with the best tools available. So in this program we will cover Tableau and we will cover Python. Apart from that, SQL and introduction to SAS as well, right? So you will really learn many tools and techniques in the program. Okay. Okay, so what I mean by IT is if you need to put a lot of your work into production systems, okay, you need to put it into production. Python is really good to put your coding and your analytics insight into production. That's what I mean by IT. And Tableau is for visualization. Barry, you're right. Tableau is used heavily for visualization. Bikash says on which tool will be the main focus. Our so Bikash, the most important thing is the main focus will be on learning the science and the art of data science. Okay, unless you know whether to apply linear regression or whether to apply logistic regression or whether to apply decision trees or whether to apply a clustering algorithm on a data, how are you going to know this? You're not going to know this by learning R or by learning Python. You need to learn statistics, you need to learn data science, okay, before you even touch anything, okay. You need to learn all of these, and then you need to learn about the different kind of variables, you need to learn about the different kinds of data before you even figure out what technique to use. Once you figure out the technique, you need to run that technique. You can run it on anything, it does not matter. You can run it on R, you can run it on Python, you can run it on SAS. All of them have it, okay. Important thing is this techniques and tools, which is what we will teach you in the program. And when you work with seasoned professionals, you will learn what technique works best for what kind of data. Okay, so you now know that you need to learn R, or and you need to learn Tableau, right? And what are the different kind of regression calculations? You have linear regression and logistic regression, Ridwan, right? And we will touch upon them in a very short while. Ridwan, we will definitely touch upon linear and logistic regression today. Okay, so let's learn about the different applications of analytics, and they're huge and they're very broad. So I'm going to talk about some of them today. The important ones we talked about: market basket analysis, which is nothing but the Amazon recommendation engine, that what is inside your basket, and depending on what's in your basket, what can I sell you? And this is market basket analysis technique. This technique can be applied in any language. It can be applied in R, it can be applied in SAS, which we teach in the program, or even on Python. Now let me ask you upselling and cross-selling. Okay, suppose I have the American Express silver credit card, and I want to sell. I want to actually, spend even more. And American Express wants to sell me another credit card. Now that I already have the silver credit card, which credit card can you sell me? Okay, so I already have the Amex silver credit card. So if you want to sell me another credit card and you're from Amex, what credit card will you sell me? Come on, in the chat box. Absolutely. Gold credit card, says Bikash. How about everybody else? Where are we? Come on, folks. I need more responses. Platinum, says Ashima. Hina, gold or platinum? You got it. And Umesh says gold. So folks, this is known as upselling, what you just said right now. If I have silver and you're trying to run analytics to figure out what to sell me as a higher category, and you figure out you can sell me gold or platinum, this is known as upselling. But the harder thing to do is cross selling. So if you call me, I'm going to say, hey, guess what? I already have a silver credit card. I don't want to buy your gold or platinum credit card. So you're like, oh, okay, sir, we understand that you don't want another credit card. Then if you can't sell me a credit card, what can you sell me? So you're a bank, right? And you know that I don't want a credit card, but you want to sell me something. So what will you sell me? Okay, there we go. So Vignesh says travel card, right? What else? What else, folks? Come on. Okay, you can sell me multi-currencies, right? You can sell me currencies. Come on, everybody else. Come on. Maybe a Visa card. Loans, Darshan says absolutely. So you guys got it. So I'm going to talk about this now. So you can actually sell me different products, right? And this is known as cross-selling. And you need to use analytics. You can't guess, okay? So if you want to figure out using my data, whether you need to sell me a loan, or you need to sell me foreign exchange, or do you need to sell me, insurance, travel insurance, right? You can figure out which one of these I'm more likely to buy if I already have a silver credit card by using analytics. And the technique again is market basket analysis. There's also upselling, cross-selling modeling that we use for this. The other cool thing is, can you imagine that Barack Obama used analytics? Do you think Barack Obama used analytics? Come on, folks. Anyone knows how Barack Obama used analytics? Yes or no? Just say no if you don't know, okay? There's nothing wrong with saying that we don't know. And I'm going to share how it got used, and it's fascinating. Okay, Hina, Darshan, Meeta. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Barack Obama was about to be re-elected. He wanted to get re-elected as the president of the United States, and as you know, you need a lot of funds when you're fighting for elections. And believe you me, that Donald Trump is already, scouting for funds for his next election. Okay, so when Barack wanted to get re-elected, he actually employed a social media analytics firm, right? And Sai Krishna says that Trump used analytics on the basis of common words. Absolutely, that's a great point, Sai. But specifically in the Barack Obama election campaign, re-election campaign, they earned $200 million by using A/B testing. Okay, so what is A/B testing? It's simple, right? If I need to send you an email A or an email B, the email A says, I, Barack Obama, right, ask for your contribution to my re-election campaign. And email B says, we, Barack Obama team, ask for your contribution to Barack's, re-election campaign. Which one would you be more likely to give money to? If you open the first email, email A, or the second email, email B? Come on, let's get the responses. Okay. Okay, so some of you said A, some of you said B, but most of you said A, isn't it? So I, Barack Obama. So imagine if you have to send out emails to the US electorate, which is, let's say, for example, 200 million people. You first have to figure out a few emails, email A, B, and really it's more than A, B, it's C, D, E, F, for example, 6 to 15 email templates, and send it out to, let's say, 200,000 people, okay? And then see which ones get you the best amount of donations. And on the basis of that, you can actually run an email campaign and run it and send it to the rest of the 200 million people. And this is how they got a huge amount of dollars in the Barack Obama re-election campaign. This technique is known as A/B testing, or the design of experiments, right? Now, if you're fascinated, let me tell you folks that there are many, many different data science techniques that are used today to actually get a lot of cool stuff done. So let's see what all, no matter which industry you're in. So if you're a bank, you prevent risk, you prevent subprime loans from being given to customers by using analytics, and you will do it in this program. In this program, you will get German credit card data, believe it or not, and you need to use that German credit card data to predict who should we give a loan to and who should we not give a loan to. And that is your capstone project at the end of this program. Okay. You'll also learn about market basket analysis, clustering and segmentation of customers, right? You'll learn to do that, different strategies, and whether you're in retail, health, banking, e-commerce, healthcare, telecom, or social media, you will be able to use all of the techniques. For example, in forecasting, you're going to learn a very advanced technique called ARIMA time series forecasting. The best technique to predict headcount, to predict revenue, to predict anything that you want to predict, okay? One of the best techniques is going to be covered in this particular program. Okay, so banks are using analytics in a really big way. A lot of banks are using analytics to figure out how they can minimize the number of branches they have. And even HR now picked up on the bandwagon after a lot of CEOs gave feedback, and you see the orange lines feedback by 1,258 CEOs in PricewaterhouseCoopers that HR wasn't using analytics enough. So not only the banks and financial institutions, e-commerce, HR jumped into the picture, and there was tremendous use of analytics to predict attrition that's going on today in a lot of companies like Quintiles and Google, right? And this is the career path, right? So no matter who you are, the way you grow in analytics, it's important for you to know that you're going to spend a lot of time as an analyst and as a senior analyst working on Tableau. You'll work on Excel, BI tools, business intelligence tools, okay? Not plain Excel. It's actually Excel add-ins in BI. And you're also going to spend a lot of time, working on things like ClickView. It could also be some other descriptive analytics tools. Now, 80% of the jobs are actually in descriptive analytics. So everyone wants to do machine learning, but the reality is once you get into the industry, even if you're called a data scientist, 80% of the times you're going to prepare reports, you're going to prepare MISs, you're going to prepare dashboards, you're going to automate them. That's what you're going to do. 80% of the jobs, believe you me, worldwide are all in descriptive analytics. Now, when you grow up the ladder from descriptive analytics, which can take typically, 0 to 5 years, right? As you can see here below, 0 to 5 years, you can end up doing that. You see a lot of people move up from descriptive analytics, okay, and into predictive analytics. Okay, so Ridwan, I'll come to you in a quick second. I think you want to focus on Tableau as the tool that's the best in the market right now. Okay. So Rizwan, I want to talk about, 5+ years of experience is where you start doing predictive analytics, right? Till then, trust you me, it's very hard to get predictive work. Only 10% of the people in the analytics industry do this. You end up doing it on R or SAS, right? Before that, you may run predictive models that other people have written, not you, right? Here you get to write models and actually test these models with good amount of experience, typically 5 to 9 years of experience. You end up working on predictive, which is why it's really important for you to learn one tool like Tableau or ClickView or MSBI. Another tool that's really popular, we're covering it in this program very briefly, is the MSBI tool, okay? Microsoft Business Intelligence. Okay, good. And then you end up leading teams. So that's when you become either an associate vice president in city in New York, in the LIC office where they run analytics, or in Bangalore or in Singapore. VPs, SVPs typically are the heads worldwide of analytics and machine learning. Okay, great. I hope this is clear to everyone. And no matter who you are, you can learn analytics. So what I want to tell you is, if you're in IT today, okay, you have these IT skills that you require in analytics. If you're a statistician, economics student, you know statistics. So you know some of the techniques in data science, specifically the regression techniques. For example, to take one example, linear regression, right? Logistic regression. You've heard of these techniques if you're from statistics or if you're from econometrics. If you're from a business background, for example, finance, or you're from HR, to take two examples, or from retail, then you've heard of terms in finance. You've heard of a term called accrual, right? If you're in HR, you've heard of things like engagement and attrition, okay? And depending on if you're in retail, then you've heard about the supply chain and inventory, okay? So no matter who you are, which domain you have experience in, you know one of the three things that you need to know analytics. You might even know two things that you need to know analytics, but you need to learn the rest. So analytics is not just about the tools. So the tools are, or SAS are here in IT, the techniques are here in data science, okay, and the business intuition that you need, or the business knowledge or the domain knowledge, are also something that you need to acquire in the program. The moment you acquire all of this, typically I have not seen people acquire it in less than 5 years. People become either a data science person or they become a data analytics professional. Typically it takes anywhere around close to 5 years to become really experienced in this field. Okay, freshers can start with even 0 years experience. Okay, I hope this is clear. And do I need to add anything more to this slide before I move ahead, folks? Are we all clear with what I've shared so far? Just say yes or no in the chat box so I know everyone is not asleep. Haha, here we go. Okay, Tejas, Umesh, Shantakumar, Vasudev, Darshan, Sai Krishna, everyone's wide awake. Okay, is there any way to learn more techniques, says Meeta? Meeta, we will be covering a lot of techniques in this program, the Analytics Accelerator Certification. I know, Meeta, you've already joined the program, so we will be covering the techniques from tomorrow onwards, okay? Okay. So now let's talk about the program advantage, right? So Ridwan says he's going for a 2-minute prayer break. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. No worries at all, Ridwan. That's perfect. Please do that and come back. See you back in 2 minutes. Okay, for the rest of us, let me talk about the program and the advantage that all of you will see in the program, right? Even before you start, right, you have to be able to define the problem, and this is the hardest thing. I could tell you, use analytics to tell me which store is most successful in all of the Walmart stores, right, that are in town, or in all of the, big bazaar stores, for example, that are in town. But the biggest question is, what do you mean by a successful store? And the answer to that can vary a lot. Some people may say the store that is most profitable. Some people may say the store where I get the maximum amount of sales per square feet area. Some people may say the store which actually turns inventory really, really fast. So inventory goes in and inventory comes out, and the cycle is really fast. So which one of them is the best store? And this is why it's really important to talk to your business and first define what problem are we trying to solve. Once you've done that, and we help you do that in this program, we talk about the statistical concepts, right? So you need to learn about mean, median, modes, the measures of central tendency, and which one is appropriate to use. You also need to learn many different probability distributions of data. Okay, so we teach you different probability distributions, the different types of data, like nominal, categorical data, ordinal data. So what are the different types of data, and which technique can you apply on which kind of data? This is really important. Okay, and then after you know Statistics, you know the different kinds of data, the different kinds of techniques you can use for the different kinds of data. We move into the tools of R, okay, and we get deep into R, and we also learn some of this on advanced Excel, so that you know, sometimes you end up in companies that do not have R installed, they have only Excel installed. So don't worry, in Excel you can install a special package called the analysis tool pack, okay, and we'll teach you to install that and run your analytics in Excel as well, okay. And that's when we get into all the techniques of regression, time series forecasting, decision trees. In decision trees we have shade, we have cart, we have you know, all the advanced techniques. Social media, Twitter analytics, you will learn on this program. You'll be able to pull out any insight you want from Twitter. Sentiment analysis, market basket analysis, clustering and segmentation. So you're going to learn all of this in 10 plus classes that will be focused on R. And we will also learn about an introduction to SAS, and we will have 3 classes in which you learn how to apply some of this in SAS as well, because banks use SAS a lot and sometimes HR also uses it, right? Okay, so at the end of all of this, you know, once you come out of your journey, you will get a capstone project, either a financial capstone project or an HR capstone project, one out of the 2 capstone projects. There'll be lots of data sets that you're going to crack, okay, as a part of the program. Now, those of you that are interested in learning big data, right? So this is a business analytics certification. For those of you who are pure coders and you only want to do programming and you love programming, that's all you want to do, then you want to do it on large data sets, right? So for you, you could later, after you have learned analytics, data analytics, you could think of also self-learning on Hadoop and Spark. It's really easy for those of you that are interested. But honestly, this is not where the jobs are. So if you're curious about machine learning or big data, you've heard these terms a lot. We cover machine learning in this program, the beginning of machine learning. But for big data, you can actually cover another certification, right? Okay. Yes, so self-study for Python, yes, we can share self-study resources for Python as well. So understand, folks, that you know there's no end to the amount of tools. So you have to, you know, become very comfortable on R, which is the data analytics tool. For banks, you can use SAS. If you use R and SAS, any company, you know, you'll be okay, because the reason for that is very simple, okay. R is free of cost, and a lot of companies in data science are using R. So is Python. But if you're working in a company that wants to work, you know, on low cost, if you know R, you'll be perfect. And SAS is used by all the banks and also the insurance companies, also the hedge fund companies, also, you know, the healthcare companies. So it's really important that you do know an introduction to SAS. We will share with you self-learning resources to learn Python, okay. And we will do that. We'll even give you a presentation on Python and, you know, codes for Python. But let me right away show you a very nice place where you can start practicing Python. Coding in R is really easy, okay, because let me tell you folks, you know, Bikash has a question, is it easy to code in R? And that's a great question. I will say that, you know, R is actually more like a scientific calculator, okay. So R is nothing but a scientific calculator. If you want to write codes in statistics, okay, and data science, R is the best place to do it, okay, because you can write very, very small codes to achieve big tasks in R for statistics and data science and data analytics. But if you want to write normal IT software, okay, then for software people, Python is better, to be very clear, okay. And since you are all interested in analytics, my vote would be with R and Tableau, okay. So Berry says program cost in dollars. Berry, it's actually $390, Berry, but you will see that we've got a discount right now. So it's just $289. Okay. and the link for you to pay through PayPal, and we have a 21-day refund policy. This is really important for everyone to know. For any reason, if you need a refund, don't worry, just drop me an email at contact@EquiSkill.com and we give you 100% refund within 21 days. So if you want to check the cost for your country, all you want to do is go to this link. Let me just post it in the chat box. And we have a lot of learners from the US and Middle East. So typically in this batch, we have people from Dubai, the US, and India. There we go. So at this link, so it's 289 US dollars after discount. It's actually originally more than $390, and in Indian rupees it's 21,900, but after discount it's 18,900. And if you use the code NY1000 when you check out, so you just want to click on view basket if you're in India, and you click NY1000, it will come down to 17,900 Indian rupees, which is equal to around 289 US dollars. Okay, so same price no matter which country you're in, absolutely same price, just the conversion rates. It's fair to anyone anywhere in the world. Okay, so do note this code. Now this is the program, and as you can see, it'll go deep into analytics, problem definition, solving it, and now you can see all of the advanced techniques that you will learn. Okay, so you're going to become very good in Tableau. Tableau, you don't need any coding. You'll become pretty good at Tableau, especially in Tableau. The MISs, you're making very good dashboards, making very good data-led stories. Okay, we call it data storytelling, right? All of this in Tableau, and you will also learn about data modeling in Power BI. Okay, so data modeling you will learn in MSBI or Power BI. Now you can install this inside Excel, but you need to install it in Excel 2013 Pro version or 2016 Pro version, and I'll tell you how to do it, so don't worry about that. Okay, all of you that have already joined the program, many of you in the class have already joined the program, so you've received a detailed email from me, right? And the program will start tomorrow and it will end in 2 months. So to be precise, right, Berry, if you could give me a cell number, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. So it's 2 months, and it's going to start tomorrow, which is the 22nd, and it's going to end 22nd April, and 22nd June we will be done, right? And you will also get a capstone project which you need to solve, right? So it's 48 hours of classes. It'll be 16 classes including this one of 3 hours each, and it'll be on Saturdays and Sundays. This time we had the class, we have a class tomorrow. The first class on is actually tomorrow, the second class. Today is the first class, right? And then we'll have a class from next weekend onwards. Okay, and each and every class is recorded, so don't worry, all of you are going to miss a class. You heard me right. Everybody who joins the accelerator typically misses 2 to 3 classes, and it's not a problem at all, because in text mining and sentiment analytics there is no connection with linear regression. Linear regression has no connection with decision trees. Clustering and segmentation has no connection with ARIMA. So even if you end up missing this class, okay, and you're sad about that, don't worry, because you can attend the other classes, and this class you will get the recording, so you can watch the recording and you will be happy again. More importantly, you get a flexi pass, which means if you miss a class in this batch, you can attend it live again in the next batch. All you need to do is drop me an email at contact@equiskill.com, and we will take care of that. So you have 2 batches worth of access. You'll never miss a class. That's the whole moral of the story, right? You'll learn all of these advanced techniques that you see right here. So Darshan says, what is data modeling? Very good question. Thank you for asking that question. So the way modeling works is, Darshan, and for everybody, right? Now I have table 1, okay, and table 1 has, for example, some data inside it, okay. It may have all the orders that have been placed by my customers, right? And I have table 2, which is all of the returns from my customers. and customers like products, sometimes they don't like the product, so they return the product. So this table is orders and this table here is returns, and we're going to practice this in a very short while. I'll give you a live demo. So you need to actually model this data. You need to create these tables. Apart from creating these tables, you need to insert data into these tables. Then you need to connect the tables, right? So orders and returns are connected because the customer ID of the customer that made the order is the same as the customer ID of the customer that returned the product. So you need to connect the customer ID field in this table and this table. Similarly, if you're in HR and over here you have two tables, the employees who have worked for the company, so they have worked for the company somewhere in the past, and employees who have left the company or attrited from the company, right? So even in these two tables, you will see that you need to form connections of employee ID, okay, in this table and this table. So when you make these connections between many different tables, right, and you actually create primary keys, which is what you see here, employee ID or customer ID, or you create foreign keys, which you'll learn in the program. This is all data modeling. You are creating a model of your data. Once you create this model, you can query the data and get insights. You can run analytics on the data. First, you need to create the data modeling, and this process is known as data modeling. Is that clear now, Darshan? Creating the tables and connecting the tables, right, and taking it to a point where you can analyze it is simple terms is data modeling. Sai, you typed something in the chat box, but I can't understand it. Okay, Darshan is clear. Thank you so much. Okay, great. So moving ahead, folks, you'll have a great time in the program, right? And tomorrow's class, I hope you know that all of you are invited for tomorrow's class, okay? So I want to see you all in tomorrow's evening's class. It's a full 3 hours class, okay? Right, so Barry, before I move ahead, right, I want to share the link for tomorrow's class, so please hang around, and there's a lovely demo going to happen now in Tableau. So first up, let me share the link for tomorrow's class. Just give me a second here. Here we go. Okay, can all of you save this link? There we go. Can everyone click on this link and open this document, please? Oh, Barry, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so can everyone click this link and open this document? I'll just walk you through the document. Just say yes once you've opened the document so I can walk you through it. Say yes in the chat box once you've opened this document, please. Okay, Bikash, Tejas, Vasudev. All right, here we go. Okay, folks, so in the document you have a couple of things. Let me show you that now. On top, you have your invite to the class tomorrow. We're going to do Tableau tomorrow. It's really, really exciting. We're going to learn visual analytics in Tableau in tomorrow's class. It's very exciting. So for example, I will show you in a very short while from now how we use Tableau. You also see the feedbacks from all of the learners on Quora.com. So you must please click on this link and read about how my learners felt about studying at EquiSkill.com. See? You can see all of the feedbacks from my learners here and on Facebook as well, right? And the Facebook link is also on the same page, right? So you can do that over here. And we rated 4.8 out of 5 on Facebook. So you want to also click on this and read some of the Facebook reviews from our learners over here, right? There we go. So these are the reviews on Facebook. And then our Quora page, you'll also see the coupon code NY1000 that you can use for Indian rupees payments. And the way you use this is you go to the Analytics Accelerator course page, you click on the Enroll Now button, okay? And if you're in the US, you will get PayPal. You can pay using the credit card, it's $289. In India, you want to click on the View Basket button, right? And apply the coupon code over here and say NY1000. And once you do that, you click on apply coupon code. It will take 1,000 rupees off. It will become 17,900, and you can check out and have a 21-day, same day return, right? Okay, so Oyen, you're saying you won't be able to come for tomorrow's class. That's perfect, Oyen. Don't worry about it. We will give you the recording. It's just one class. It will not, affect any other class. Okay. Okay. So Oyen, you're most welcome, right? And now, in the resources, you'll also see the link of R versus Python. You'll see the recording for the webinar. We've already recorded the last webinar, exactly identical to today's webinar. You will see the data that I'm going to use today, the Tableau download link for you to install Tableau for tomorrow's class. It's really easy. Don't worry. Just click this, download Tableau and install it. It works perfect. And you can WhatsApp me at this number that you see here, right? 97316 57840. You can send me WhatsApp. You can even call me, WhatsApp me, and I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions, right? Or your doubts. I'd be more than happy to do that. So please, you know, so my fees, I just told you, right? It's 17,900 for all the four tools. It's nowhere in the industry can you learn that much in this amount. 17,900 if you use the discount code. Okay, RK? Are you clear with one? Oh, fees for advice? No fees for advice. That's a great question. So I will give you free advice. Okay, don't worry. Just write to me on WhatsApp. I'm more than happy to help you with, your advice, whatever advice you need. Okay. Okay. There you go. Right. So it's time for the demo in Tableau, and I'm going to open up Tableau now and give you a live demo of how easy it is to do analytics. Is there anyone who's actually installed Tableau on their computers and you're practicing along with me today? Anyone? Okay, Tejas is doing that. Bikash is doing that. That's great. That's great. Vignesh, so a lot of us have done that, huh? This is really cool, and we are going to get deep into analytics tomorrow, folks. So you'll really enjoy tomorrow's class. In the meanwhile, let's get Tableau open now. Okay. So let me ask you this. There we go. Can you count the number of nines that you see on your screen right now? How many nines do you see on your screen? Quickly. Okay, your time stops now. Now tell me, how many nines did you see on your screen? This is going to be really interesting, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so some of you said 5 or 6. Let me ask you now. Now, how many nines do you see on your screen? Come on, everybody. Is it 4, 2, 5, or how many do you see? And this time it didn't take you any time at all, right? All of you can see 10 nines on the screen, and this is the power of visualization. Data visualization helps you see numbers and gain insight from numbers unlike any other way. Okay, and it's really, really powerful. We think we're great at numbers, folks, but the reality is human beings are far greater and far better at visuals than we are at numbers. Now, we are going to learn Tableau Visual Analytics, which is exploring data visually, helping it augment human perception, automating visualizations, and creating many different views of data and understanding, insight from data. Now tell me, where do you see the maximum number of injuries on this player? Quickly, 1, 2, 3, come on. I've taken the image away, but all of you say the knee. And after the knee, where did you see the maximum number of injuries? Second, after the knee. Come on, take a guess, folks. Hand. Okay, take more guesses. Foot, shoulder, right? So you noticed, right? All of you noticed that the foot, the ankle had 200 injuries, the shoulder had 106. So this is a bubble graph. And what you see here, the visualization that you see here is actually known as a bubble graph, okay? And you know that human beings now are far better at understanding data, and visual analytics in Tableau or ClickView is nothing but the art and the science of presenting data in such a way that it exploits our visual abilities. in order to amplify our understanding of data. And all of your business leaders, right, no matter what analytics you do, whether you do it in R, whether you do it in SAS, whether you do it in Python, none of them is interested. Okay, everyone wants to see it in a great visual format. And the whole internet today is about infographics, and I just showed you a very short while ago an infographic, okay, of two languages. I compared two languages, R and Python, and what you saw was nothing but an infographic, combination of information and graphics. This is how you need to present all your analytical insight in today's world. And now I'm going to go into Tableau. There we go. Okay, here we go, and I'm in the public version of Tableau. As you can see, it can connect to every server in the world. If you click on more, you'll see all of the different servers. But for right now, I'm going to connect using Excel. Okay, and I'm going to connect to a data set called the Global Superstore. I double click on Global Superstore using Tableau. Tableau, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is the #1 tool in analytics, especially visual analytics, rated by Gartner. Now, the moment I select the Global Superstore, you can see that I've got on my screen, I've got over here three tables. I've got the orders that people have placed. I've got the people that have actually placed the orders, which is basically the customers. I've got the orders, and I've got the returns as well. Okay. So these are the three tables in my database: orders, customers, and returns. And now I'm going to actually show you data modeling. So we talked about data modeling a short while ago. Let's do it right now. I'm going to drag orders, click on it, drag it, and drop it over here. Okay. And the moment I do that, I can see all of the orders in this particular data set, right? You can see a lot of the fields over here, and let me show you some of the fields down below. You've got, the row ID. Okay, this is nothing but, the row ID for the data. You've got the order ID, right? OID, let me call it. You've got the date on which the order was placed by the customer, the date on which we shipped the product to the customer. Did we ship it first class, or did we ship it the same day or standard class? What kind of shipping? Okay, for example, Amazon has Amazon Prime versus other kinds of shipping, right, which is the normal shipping. Okay, and then you've got the customer name, segment, city. Now, important thing is in Tableau, the beauty is that you can actually see the different kinds of data. So wherever you see this sign, the hash is actually numerical data. ABC is actually text data. The calendar sign is actually date. And then similarly, you can also see over here the geographical data like the city. Okay, so Tableau shows you the different kinds of data sets. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take returns and I'm going to drag it and drop it over here, right next to orders, okay, somewhere far away. But the moment I do that, automatically Tableau detects a relationship between orders and returns. And if I click on this blue intersect between the two Venn diagrams, I get to see that it's an inner join. Whoops, I'm using a technical word over there. So you're probably thinking, what's an inner join? So we'll learn that a little later. Don't worry about it. For the time being, I'll close it and I'll remove the returns, right? I'll click on the remove button next to returns, and I'm going to remove the returns by clicking on this drop down over here, right? Simple. I'm just going to use one data, right? So Bikash says common elements of both tables is inner join. Absolutely, Bikash. All right, now at the bottom left, so I removed the returns, by the way, right? I removed the returns, and what I'm going to do is, okay, Bikash, thank you. I'm going to go to sheet 1 on the bottom left corner of the screen. So let me show you where. Over here on the bottom left corner on the screen, you see something called sheet 1. So you want to click on that. The beauty is in Tableau, you don't work on the data, okay? So you don't work on this raw data. You actually work on the visuals, which is a great way to do your analytics, especially on small to mid-sized data sets. So I click on sheet 1 and it takes me immediately to this particular view over here, okay? Now, in this view, you're going to learn something really important, folks. You're going to learn about the difference between dimensions and measures in Tableau, right? So let's talk about what are dimensions and what are measures. Okay. Now I'll give you the simplest way to understand this. Now in a hospital, when a baby is born, it's a great moment for the mother and the father, but the nurses and the doctors start measuring things. Hmm. They're also very happy. But the moment the baby is born, they measure things. And you're going to tell me what they measure now in the chat box. Okay. So the weight, right? Okay. So Shanta Kumar says health. Shanta, how do you measure health? Can you tell me? Okay. Meeta says heart rate. You're right. Weight. Hina says weight, time. Hina, what do you mean by time? I completely agree with weight. Ashima says blood pressure, heart rate, weight. Okay, time of birth. Okay, absolutely. Okay, okay, great. So let me actually capture some of these things over here, right? So time that the person was born. Okay, great. So let me capture all of this here. So you have the heart rate. Okay, you have the blood pressure. You have the weight. Okay, okay, let me go up. Let me have a look at the other responses from you guys. Darshan says vital parameters, height, weight. Okay, fantastic. You also capture certain things like the time that the baby was born, okay, or the date on which the baby was born, okay. Now you also measure something called the bilirubin count. Now, does anyone know what the bilirubin count is? BRC. Okay, anyone knows what the BRC is? Bilirubin count. Come on, folks. I'm getting deep into healthcare here. Absolutely, jaundice, right? Darshan says liver function, vital parameters. Absolutely. Okay, so Meeta and Vasudev say no. Right, so bilirubin count is nothing but the measure of jaundice. Okay, unfortunately, these days a lot of babies are born premature, and when a baby is born premature, they haven't developed completely, and so they tend to develop what is known as infantile jaundice. Okay, which is a baby jaundice. It goes away if you put them under ultraviolet light for just a couple of days, let's say 2 to 3 days. So it's harmless, don't worry, the baby does perfectly fine. The important thing is there are things that you are measuring because these are things you want to control. Okay, for example, you want a normal heartbeat, let's say somewhere between 72 to 110. You want the blood pressure to be around 80 and 110, right? You want the weight to be somewhere between 2.5 kgs to 5 kgs. You want the bilirubin count to be somewhere below 12. Okay, so these are nothing but the measures, things that you want to measure in order to stay in control, things that actually predict success, which means a successful delivery. And a normal baby is one which has all of these measures in the control limits. Okay, and all you see on the left hand side here in the data set in Tableau are the measures of a business. Just like a baby, a business also has measures, right? A business needs to give less discounts, more profits, wants to sell more quantity and more sales. Now, certain things describe the baby. They're not measures, but they're things that describe the baby. So, can you tell me what describes how the baby looks? Come on, folks, everybody. What are some of the things that mothers adore the baby for? An adorable baby. What do you like about them? Come on. All right, the eyes, the color of the eyes, right? Okay, so there are certain other things, right, that also describe, the child. For example, how round is the face, how chubby is the baby. Okay, so let's put all of these things here, right, for a quick second. Okay, what is the color of the eyes? Okay, or in the hospital they might also capture the race of the baby. It's not because they're trying to discriminate, it's just because they need to capture it as a part of the data. Okay, and also the color of the eyes. Some people may also talk about the color of the skin of the baby, like it's a pink baby, or it's a beautiful yellow baby, or it's a fantastic black baby. It doesn't matter what color, right? But these are all things that describe the baby. Okay, and they are also data, but they are not measures. Okay, they are not measures because they describe the data. So you can slice and dice the data on these things, right, but they're not the measures of the data, because you're not trying to turn a baby with blue eyes into a baby with green eyes, but you are trying to turn a baby that weighs 2.5. Suppose the baby weighs 1.5 kgs, you do want to make the baby weigh 2 kgs or more. That's a measure. Okay, so now is everybody very clear on what is a dimension and what is a measure? Yes. Okay, smiles from Darshan. Is everyone clear on dimensions and measures? Hina says yes. How about everybody else? Meeta, yes. Okay, good. So let's have, how about everybody else? Is everyone clear on dimensions and measures? Okay, you're super clear now. Okay, now the beauty of it is the Tableau automatically detects dimensions and measures, and isn't that fantastic, right? Measures can change, dimensions cannot. Okay, so dimensions, so here's the thing, right? Dimensions can change sometimes. For example, the customer's location, okay, right? It could change. The customer might move from Dallas to Detroit, okay? So in that sense, the dimension could change, but it is not, you don't want to change it, okay? So we don't want to change dimensions. They could change, but we don't necessarily want to change dimensions because they describe the data. We want to change the measures. So what are the measures? Discount. Do you want discount to be more or less? Put it in the chat box. Discounts, if you're running the business, you're not a customer, okay? You own a business, huh? So do you want to give more or less discounts? Less discounts, absolutely. So you want it to change. If it's too high, you want it to go down, right? Now what about the quantity of sales? Do you want it to be more or less? Absolutely, you want it to be more. So the measures are things that you want them to be either higher or lesser, right? While dimensions are things that just describe. So you dissect your data using dimensions. Now, Tableau, the beautiful thing about Tableau, as you can see on the left hand side, Tableau has automatically detected that the city that the customer is based out of is actually a dimension. The customer's name is a dimension, right? The date we place the order is a dimension. These are not measures, okay? And Tableau has automatically detected some measures like discount, profit, quantity, sales, shipping cost. Sometimes Tableau can make a mistake, but don't worry, it's easy. You can pick something up from a measure and drop it on the dimension. So how do you do that? I can show you right away. Simple. We just click on, for example, if you think that discount in your business is fixed, you never change the discount, you drop it from measures and you drop it on top of dimensions. So now discount has disappeared from the measures and it has gone into the dimensions. You can see it over here. But for the time being, I'll bring it back. Okay. Now, one of the biggest problems is what kind of graph do I use to show what kind of data? Don't you guys face this problem? So you have some data, don't you guys face a problem, which graph to use? Do you face this problem? Yes or no? Okay, and Tableau makes this really, really easy. While reporting, Bikash says he faces this problem. So hash represents a number. Very simple question that I got just now. What does hash represent? Hash basically means a number. So whenever you see, in front of any data, for example, discount, you see over here the hash symbol. It means that this is a number. Got it? Okay, cool. I hope you got it. Say yes in the chat box. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to actually figure out what graph to use for what kind of data. On the top right corner, you see something called show me. Okay. So where do you see it? Let me show you on your computer. Look here on the top right corner, you see something called show me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on sales and I'm going to click on country. While I do that, I'm going to use the control button on my keyboard. I'm going to keep the control button pressed down. Okay. So let me do that for you now. Tomorrow we'll get into very advanced analytics. We're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to click on sales on the measures. Please follow me and you can also click along with me. I've clicked on sales once in the measures. I'm pressing the control button on my keyboard. Okay, and I'm going to click on country. Now I want to look at how much sales I'm achieving in different countries. Okay, So now I click on show me. The moment I click on show me, you notice that it's showing me a lot of different graphs like the bubble graph, or this one here, the tree maps. It's showing me this one here, which is the symbol maps. But you'll notice that the symbol maps have a red border around it. So it means that Tableau is recommending the symbol map. Okay. So where do you see the symbol map? Here it is, right? So Tableau is saying that this is the one you want to use. You could also use these other ones here, absolutely no problems. But we think that the best one for you to use is this one over here, which is a symbol map. So I'm going to listen to Tableau, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the symbol maps, right? And pie chart as well, you're right. So Bikash says pie chart. So I'll double click the symbol map, and the moment I double click, boom, there you go. So Tableau is now showing you the sales in all the countries, right? So you can see the US is $297,201. But hey, how do I know which states I'm getting a lot of sales in and which states I'm not getting so much sales in? I need to understand this data better. So let me go look in the dimensions and see if there's something useful. Hmm. Tell me, what do you see? Is there something useful for me to figure out, which states I'm doing the sales in? Okay, so let's have a look. Everyone's responding. Okay, so Shanta Kumar says city. Absolutely. Is there anything else? If I want to see in the US, which states have I sold in? Or in India, which states have I sold in? Come on, folks. All right, so Meeta Kedare says there's actually the state. It's over here, right? So I click on the state and I drag it. All I need to do, folks, it's as simple as this. I'm going to drag it and I'm going to drop it right here on the Pacific Ocean. That's it, next to South America. And the moment I do that, boom, in a second, I'm able to see the sales in each of the different states, okay? And I can now tell in the United States, let me just zoom in. I'll click on the zoom in button. There's the zoom in button. You see the magnifying glass here. I'll click on that and I'll say United States, and I can actually zoom in on the United States. I noticed that most of the sales is happening in California, Washington, and also a little bit here in the Great Lakes region, the West Coast, a little bit here in Texas, and pretty significant sales in Mexico as well, right? Okay. Yes, so you can actually attach this as a link as well. You can make it an appendix as well, Ridwan. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that in a very short while. Now I go back to the world view, okay, and let me show you how we want to look at profits, because sales is not important in isolation. We need to know in which states have we made profits, in which states have we not made profits. So in the measures, which field should I drag and drop somewhere? Which field should I pick up from here in the measures if I want to look at profitability? Come on, folks, everybody, you need to guess. Come on. Discount, profit, quantity, sales, shipping cost. Which one do I pick? Come on, everybody. Okay, you're right. So so Meeta says profit, Shanta Kumar says profit, Ashima profit. Okay. Now, if I want to see profit as color on this map, right? I'd like to take advantage of profit as color. All I need to do is I need to pick profit, drag it and drop it on top of color like this. And boom, very quickly I see all of the places where I made profit as blue and all of the places where I made losses as orange color. Isn't this fantastic? Right? How many of you think this is ridiculously easy? Right? Absolutely. So Ram says, profit percentage also makes a lot of sense. Right? Percentage profit, says Ram. Makes a lot of sense. That's a very good input. So Darshan says, this is really, really easy. How about everybody else? You find this easy? Yeah? Come on, everybody. Please share your comments. Very easy, very effective, says Bikash, Meeta, Vignesh, right? And trust you me, we can do fundamental. Darshan says, I'm not able to load data into Tableau. Darshan, don't worry, stay around. I'll show you. Okay. How to select the chart, says Tejas, show me that again. Okay. So I'll show you again, right? Darshan, I'll show you how to load, data into Tableau. Just hang around a little bit, okay? Okay, folks, just give me a second. I'm running out of power on my laptop. Can I please take 1 minute to quickly get my adapter and just add it to my laptop, please? Would that be okay? All right, just give me a minute. Okay, I'm back, folks. Just give me a second here. Yes, I have power now. Thank you so much. Okay, so hey, Darshan, I'm going to show you how to load, the data. So you can easily, click on File, and when you say New, or you can click on Open, right, and navigate to the Excel file and go and open the Excel file on your computer. But don't worry, I'll show you again at the end of the class. So hang around, Darshan. Okay. All right. That's great. So you can actually put a lot of conditions. Sai Krishna says, can we get conditions like sales is greater than a particular number or profit percentage is more than a particular number? Absolutely. So you have what we call quick table calculations in Tableau. So you can use quick table calculations in order to do this, right? So you can edit the calculated field, you can create calculated fields here, right? All of that is completely possible in Tableau using quick table calculations. So for example, in sales, I could go down here, I could go to quick table calculations, and I can go for percentage, percentage difference, percentage of total, moving average, right? All of those calculations. I can even add a table calculation from my side, right? So all of those things are possible in Tableau. Okay. So for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play with the colors a little bit. I'll click on color, edit colors, and I'll choose green for very profitable. Okay. And I'll choose red for not so profitable. So that makes it really intuitive. Everybody can understand that red is lack of profit, right? So I'll step it up to 6 colors and use the full color range and see. This is much better now, isn't it? You can easily see per country where you're making profits and where you're not. The big profits are in Europe, in the UK, California, New York, parts of Australia, and even in France. And the losses, I think the whole Middle Eastern region seems to be making a lot of losses, as is Africa and South America, and really some losses here in Southeast Asia as well, in Philippines, a little bit here in New Zealand, right? So you can notice all of that, right? And you can do far more with Tableau than just what we did right now. Okay, it's really exciting. I'll click another view, and we can actually look at, for example, the quantity of sales in different cities, right? And this time you could, for example, pick city, and you could pick sales, click on show me, and pick a bubble chart. Wow, now this is not making a lot of sense here. So I'm probably going to look at which ones are profitable, which ones are not. Okay, and I can also cluster the different cities. Okay, or what I could do is, instead of cities, I could just take countries and make a bubble chart out of countries. Maybe that'll work out a little better, right? So a lot of things are possible. So let me create another one for country, quantity of sales, and see if a bubble chart there makes a little more sense, and the ones that are most profitable. So there you go. Nice and easy, right? Okay, so we're going to do a lot of stuff, folks, in the program. This is just the beginning, but you will see we will go deep into R, right? And you will be able to create some very, very interesting visualizations in R and do advanced analytics in R. And I will show you again for the bubble chart. Do not worry. For just give me a quick second here while I actually open up something else on the side. Okay, here we go. So let me start from the beginning, because I know someone had trouble sort of opening up the data, right? So I'll actually open Tableau again, right? One of you had a problem opening the data set, right? So now this time I'll move much faster, so just give me a second here. Okay, there we go. So for whoever had a hard time loading the data, okay, all you need to do is, below connect you can see Excel written over here, right? So all you need to do is click on Excel. There you go, over here. So you just need to click on this Excel here, right? And I'm going to do that now. I click on Excel and I go and click on Global Superstore on my computer to connect to the Global Superstore database. That's it, as simple as that. And then I drag orders, drop it over here. Simple, nice and easy. Okay. And I go to my worksheet. How did I make the bubble chart? Really easy. Okay. I'll show you now. I clicked on quantity and I pressed the control button on my keyboard. I've kept it pressed down, the control button, and I clicked on country. So both of them got selected. Now I clicked on show me and I double clicked on top of the packed bubbles over here. Okay, there you go. And then to include profitability in different colors, I just drop profit on top of color like that. So that the ones that are most profitable become blue, less profitable becomes orange. And I can change that. So I can click on edit colors and use natural colors like, green and red for profitability, because the whole world understands green and red, right? So why not just go with something that everybody would understand? Whoops. I think I used a very fluorescent green. My apologies. That will not work in the business world. Okay. So I'm just going to go with a more sober green here. Okay, this would kind of work. And I have the maximum view, so I can present right here in Tableau. Okay. And I can even add my comments and annotations to this. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something in R. Right. So let me see if I can just pull up the R Studio. And like I said, R is actually a very, very easy language. So give me a second here. This should be user two who just a second. Okay. Right. Any other comments from anyone before we move ahead, folks? Please comment on licenses for commercial use of this free version of Tableau. RK, this is 100% free of cost. This is Tableau public. Okay. So let me actually show you where I got this again, folks. Nice and easy. I think I've got it in the Word doc for you. But for those of you that have not installed Tableau, right here, RK. Okay, Ridwan, right here in the document that I've given you, see, you've got the Tableau download link. This is free of cost. You don't have to pay a single dollar for this. All the softwares in the Analytics Accelerator certification, I will give you free downloads, 100% legal free downloads. Okay. And the only one where you need to install a trial version is actually Microsoft Excel 2013 Professional Edition or 2016 Professional Edition. And even for that, I will give you a free trial link. Okay. So you will not have to pay a single dollar. All you pay is the course fees. Everything else, I will give you the links. You just need to install it on your computer at your end. Okay. So you can't use it for commercial use, obviously. You can use it for your learning purposes. And if you want to purchase it for commercial use, you can do that. But I will also teach you to create great visualizations in Excel. So everything you learn in Tableau, we will show you how to create in Excel 2016 Professional. And everybody has Excel in their offices. So anyone can do the same thing using MSBI add-ins in Excel that I will teach you in this program. Okay. So that should solve your problem. Okay. I will put the free links right here in this. Okay. So let me go to R, folks, and show you something really interesting. Okay, this is known as sentiment analytics. So over here in the R Studio, what you see is we've connected to Twitter, right? And we've actually analyzed all of the comments that people have on Twitter, right? And we've broken it down into sentiments. Okay, and you will be able to do this in this program. Now, if this looks complicated, do not worry. It's really, really easy. What I've done is I've taken this comment. I bought an iPhone a few days ago. It is such a nice phone, although it's a little large. The touchscreen is cool. The voice quality is clear too. I simply love it. Okay. And what you can do is you can use the natural language processing library and anything such as employee comments on glassdoor.com or comments on cell phones, comments on companies, comments about a particular topic like what happened in the United Airlines, right? you can easily connect to Twitter, and this is 100% free of cost. So believe you me, that you can connect to Twitter free of cost and download all the tweets and analyze the tweets. Isn't that cool? Any topic, last 6 months, every tweet that was ever there on that topic, you can do it. Darshan says, wow. But the thing is, you haven't done it so far, right? Because you are not aware. We will use the Twitter developer API. Okay. Now, believe you me, the developer API is free of cost. And we will give you the source code in this program. We will explain this code to you, so you will nicely be able to analyze all employee comments. Now the thing is, you can do this employee comments, customer comments, you can analyze them, even your logs, for example, your customer ticket logs, right? So you can analyze them. You can even create a word cloud. So what's a word cloud? Let me show you now. Apart from the sentiment analytics I just showed you, you can use R to also create your word cloud like this and analyze any topic and understand what are people saying on the internet about this particular topic, right? For example, these are word clouds here, right? And we will show you how to create an excellent word clouds on any topic, including your company and how people feel about your company on the internet using the R Studio. Okay, we'll also teach you how to break up the sentiment. For example, people in this particular example, people are very positive about the cell phone, the iPhone, and you can see that here, right? So let me show you the sentiment bar graph. So clearly, there's a lot of positivity. So let me just talk about that. It's over here, right? Very positive. And there's some amount of negativity about the screen size. You can see that people can sometimes feel anger, anticipation, trust, right? And all of this is as per the natural language processing library of the Oxford Dictionary or the other dictionaries, right? Oxford or Cambridge Dictionary. So nobody can debate this, okay? The only thing that you might not be able to analyze using sentiment analytics is sarcasm, okay? Because computers can't understand usually where sarcasm is being used. But now sometimes using advanced libraries, for example, the Harvard library, you can even detect that sometimes, okay? Not always, the accuracy isn't so good. So you learn to do this in the program using R. Hey, and while we're here, by the way, R is really, really easy, okay? As you can see, what I've done here is on the left-hand side, we'll put in our codes, okay? Over here. So I'll show you over here, we'll put in all the codes. And here we'll get the outputs, okay? You'll have 4 screens, in fact. Right now you see 3. This is where you get the error messages and that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so it's really, really easy. It's not so hard. And if you want to analyze it, you can practice it, you can do it very, very easily. So Ashima says libraries classify words and phrases as positive, negative, anger. Yes, yes. How was NLP library okay, Darshan has a great question. So NLP library, see, people develop these libraries. So someone like you and me, Darshan, puts together the library, right, using the Oxford definition. So you have to go with the dictionary definitions, okay? And you have to interpret it using those definitions. You can't use my definitions or your definition. And then you have to code it, and then you have to make it available as an R or Python library, whatever language it is, and it's free of cost for everyone to use that library. By the way, Harvard has a very good library. Yeah, why I have to code for this? So Tejas, you have to actually use the code. This is a great question. See, Tejas, in this code, what we have done is nothing complicated. Okay, what we have done is, see, many times in our tweets, okay, on Facebook or on Twitter, okay, sometimes, isn't it true that you insert links into your tweets? Do some of you add links? Come on, please say yes, isn't it? Do you add, a comment and then you add a link? Yes, says Darshan. How about everybody else? Do you add links? Yes. Now you tell me something. How about everybody else? Vasudev, Shantakumar, Hina. Yes. So let me ask you a question. Okay. Does a link, have emotion? Yes or no? Does a link have sentiment? Yes or no? No, right? So links, right? See, I'm talking about just the link, the text in the link. Does it have sentiment? So your answer is no, and that is the correct answer, right? So a link is just, technical. It does not have any sentiment. So what I need to do is I need to remove all the links from the text. Okay. I cannot analyze the sentiment of a link. Similarly, there are many other things that I need to remove because it does not have sentiment in it. Okay. So if the link contains a heading that may become a sentiment, it depends. Okay. Mostly what you will see is that people will remove links when they actually, you know, uh, do the sentiment analytics, because very few people are writing what they feel using a link. Now the thing is, you could do a sentiment analytics on links, but when you do a sentiment analytics on people's comments, you need to remove the links from the comments. You want to understand how they feel, okay? And to understand how they feel, you need to remove links. So how do you do that? You do that using these codes. You clean the data, right? And after cleaning the data, you remove comma. Does a comma have any emotion? Come on, folks. Does a comma have sentiment? Yes or no? No. How about a semicolon? Does a semicolon have sentiment? Does a link have sentiment? So we just need to remove this junk, and that's why we write these codes. The rest of the hard work your library will do. Okay. That's why we write these small codes. Okay. Cool. Data cleaning. Okay, that's superb. So now you understand how to create excellent sentiment analytics using R library. And this is the R studio. And one of you asked the question, how do I become comfortable? And I will show you in R, it's easy to become comfortable. Okay, this is how you do it. See, we will teach you R. But if you want to just practice a little bit of R, you can go to datacamp.com for the raw practice and click on start learning R. Okay, and some very basic things. You can say how much experience do you have with R. So you click on little. Okay, and then it starts the introduction to R, right? It will ask you to log in, so you can start the course right here. Yes, Tejas, I will unmute you very shortly. Okay, right? So it will start right here, and once you do that, you will easily be able to practice R here on datacamp. Some very basic things you will be able to practice easily on datacamp.com. The advanced analytics we will teach you, but for the basic stuff, you can go to datacamp.com, and believe you me, they will start with things like 2 plus 3 equal to, and it answer is 5. Simple, as simple as that. So if you can do 2 plus 3 equal to 5, you can easily learn the basics of R on datacamp.com. Okay, of course we will teach you, so don't worry about it, but I think if you want to be comfortable, that's a great place to do it. So Tejas, you had a question, right? Why don't you go ahead and let me unmute you. Just give me a second here, Tejas. Yes, Tejas, I've got you unmuted now. Please go ahead.
Hello, Amit. I have a question that the Tableau is working on. We provide the data set, and Tableau automatically process the data set and provide the visual effect, right? So in R, is there any pre-configured system where we can provide just only the data source for the data source which we have to process and give us the visualization output like a it
Yes.
means
Yes.
you show us that we are providing the tweet and it analyze the tone analyzer, like it's working as a
Sure.
tone analyzer, right?
Sure. Sure.
So
You mean in yes, yes.
is there any pre-configured system which we have where we have to provide only the Twitter link or Twitter data set and it directly give us the output?
Okay, so you have two different questions. Hey, thanks a lot, Tejas, for your question. So let me just, take both of those questions separately. So first thing you talked about is, Tableau automatically does all of this, right? And is there something that we can use in R, which we can use to do the visualizations, right? Automatically. And there is, so R also has a package. But see, understand this, there are many different kinds of analytics tools. Okay, so R is more of a tool wherein you will have to use a library. Okay, and a library has some very good tools for you to make graphs. Okay, so some of the libraries in R which can be used to make graphs that you saw in Tableau, For example, one is called the ggplot. Okay, very famous library. Now the ggplot can be used to actually plot your data in any way that you want, and you can make fairly good visualizations using ggplot. But you have to write a program. Okay, and sometimes it's basic, sometimes it's a little complex. The easiest way to visualize is still by far is Tableau, and it's also very fast way to do quick calculations. Okay, you don't have to do any code at all, so we teach that. Now when you have to get into more details and analyze it for specific purposes, then when you get into specific analysis or specific graphs, then you can use R package libraries for statistics, and you can use ggplot. Now as it comes on the internet, you will find many tools which you can actually use for your analysis of text. So you can just type create word cloud. Okay, and on the internet, on Google, right, and you will easily see some automatic tools, but these tools will not allow you to analyze it for your specific business. For example, if your business says, can you tell me how many people are giving positive or negative comments about Volvo on glassdoor.com? Okay, or how many people, what are people saying about Volvo on Twitter in the last 1 month? And of those people, how many people last month felt angry about Volvo? Or let's say United Airlines. Okay, something happened on United Airlines, right? They threw out a passenger. And how many people are feeling angry this month? So last month versus this month, did anger go up or did anger go down? So this kind of things you can do much better in R rather than using preset packages on the internet. And trust me, even if you do not know programming, it will be very easy. We will show you, it's so easy. In this program, people with a bachelor's in commerce have been able to easily learn R, because R is not a production IT programming language. It's more of a data science or data analytics software. It's more like a scientific calculator. Okay, good. Have I answered everyone's questions, right? Anything else you guys were looking forward to, today's demo? Okay, same goes to SAS. Yes, Bikash, very well said. Tejas says, thank you, Amit. Okay, so I want to take more questions. Now, the most important thing is your questions. Like I said, the most important link for you to save, right, is this link over here, which has everything that you need, including the recording of today's class. I'm going to put the recording here itself in this link. Just give me a second. I'll convert this recording and I'll put it inside this document over here. So all you need is the link for this document, which has the discount code also. Please do not worry. Come to the class tomorrow. Okay, many of you have already joined the course, so I've given you full access to the LMS. You have access to the videos. Some of you must be joining tomorrow onwards. Okay, so Venkatesh says common problems faced during analytics as a beginner. Okay, I'll answer Venkatesh's question. First, let me share this document with everybody, just a second here. Yeah, please save this document immediately, folks. Right, save this on your desktop, okay, as a favorite. And on this page, you also see tomorrow's class. Can I request everybody to kindly register for tomorrow's class, because tomorrow is a very serious class on analytics. Tomorrow onwards we start. So can you click on this link and register? Tomorrow we will get deep into Tableau tomorrow onwards, okay? Yeah? Everybody click on that and register, okay? And please use this discount code. It's a phenomenal discount, right? So from 21,900 it goes down to 17,900. So this offer will be withdrawn very shortly. So please do make full use of it, and we have a refund. Okay. Okay. Now one of you asked a question. So common problems faced during analytics. Okay. So let me answer that question before we close for the day, and we do need to now close for the day. A lot of you are leaving. Okay. So some of the common problems that people face when they actually join analytics. Okay. One of the most common problems is that they know the tools. They think they are programmers, so they know the tools, but they don't know the techniques. Okay. So most important before you start is to learn statistics. Many people jump into analytics without statistics, they get into trouble. So what do I mean by statistics? So mean, median, mode, deviation, okay, right? Types of variables, very important. What are the different types of variables? Okay, basic data manipulation in Excel, very important. If you need to pull out dates, if you need to pull out first name, last name, if you need to encode the data, you need to be able to do good data manipulation. Then people need to have basic data querying skills. Many people don't know how to query the data. What does this mean? This means SQL. You should be able to write a good SQL query to get the data out of the database in the first place. Once you get it out as a table, only then you can begin to analyze the data, right? You should have the ability to also clean your data, okay? And also, even before that, you have to ask for permission for the data. Big problem, okay? Many times, you go to a client and the client is, sending the work to India, or sending the work to, let's say, Singapore, or sending the work to some other location, for example, Europe. But as it so happens, they have to take permissions, and sometimes those permissions itself can take 6 to 7 months. So believe me, one of the hardest parts in the world of analytics is that it will take you a lot of time to just get permission to actually get the data, right? Okay, you've asked for very practical problems that we face in world of analytics, so I'll talk about those problems, right? The other part is you have to be able to, after you get the permission, get a common definition of the problem. This is a big problem, okay? So when you talk about, people say, okay, we want this business to be successful. Now, what is success? This is a big problem. So you have client number one, client number two, client number three, client number four, and everyone has a different definition. Okay. As it so happens, client number one is from HR and they want less attrition, high engagement. Okay. Client number two is from finance, they want very good cash flow. Client number three is from sales, so they want very good, sales amount and quantity, and they want more discount. Client number four, let's say, is from supply chain, so they want faster inventory movement. Okay, so which one of these is actually success? So this is one of the bigger problems. Again, the analyst or data analytics professional has to work with everybody and decide, get them to decide, not you, get them to decide on what is the problem you're trying to solve. Only then you can run the analytics. Okay. Okay, so this is one more problem which you face. There are many more problems along the way, as you proceed in analytics, so we will learn that, right? Okay, so Ridwan says, any good beginner statistic course that we should consider? So Ridwan, those that have joined the Analytics Accelerator certification, we have already sent you a video that you can watch on statistics. Okay, so why don't you drop me an email, Ridwan, at contact at the rate of EquiSkill.com. Okay, and I'll send you a video you can watch on statistics. Okay, so I'll send you maybe 2 videos. Okay, so that will be good for you. Okay, Vidhan. Okay, fantastic, Ridwan. I'll await your email. You join tomorrow. You, in this program itself, you will learn all the statistics that you need for analytics. See, your job is not to become PhD in statistics. Okay, that's not your goal. What do you need to know? You need to know mean, median, mode. You need to know distributions. Okay, you need to know types of variables. You need to know hypothesis. What is hypothesis? You need to know a little bit of ANOVA. Okay, and that's it. That's enough for you to start on statistics. Later you would need to learn regression and some other techniques which we will teach you. Okay, so all of this we will cover in the program as one. Okay, and we also have resume writing support, and we help you with the placement opportunities for those that are interested in jobs. We have placed many people, so please do go to quora.com and read comments from our learner Anjani and other people who we have actually placed. Even those who have transitioned into analytics from IT, we have helped them do that. More importantly, if you're in any field, if you want to use analytics in that field, for example, you're in HR, you want to learn HR analytics, then you can easily, do that once you go through this course. So this is the link where you can read about feedback from all our learners. It's there in the Word document that we sent you. Okay, any more questions, folks? Otherwise, we'll close for the day. I want to thank you all, but I need your help. Okay, so Hina, Hina, what we have done is, Hina, we have $289 and it is equal to 17,900 rupees. So the USD link, if you look at it, is already discounted. Okay, what we've done is, it used to be USD 390, Hina, and we have reduced that and we have directly put the USD link for $289. And in PayPal we actually do not have the discount code option. Okay, so what we did is, we've actually put the same link out there. So Hina, I could connect with you separately in case you need, installments for USD, right? We do have installments, and our learners in the US sometimes pay $140, USD first installment, and then $140 USD second installment. So let me know if you need that help. Does that help you, Hina? Okay, and you'll notice that $289 is the same 17,900 rupees, right? Okay, so we have one project. So we have learners from Boston, Nevada. We've got learners from New York. So they all join at this price. It's a great price for a live course. Darshan says, can I explain the structure of the programs? Okay, so Darshan, the rest of this, right, in the program Analytics Accelerator, we will cover all of this in great detail, okay, for sure. And Hina, I'm looking forward to you joining the program, right? Can I call you after this course to clear further doubts? Yes, yes, I look forward to your phone calls, okay? And even if you're in the US, Hina, you can just give me a call on WhatsApp or WhatsApp comments. Vasudev, right? Just call me using WhatsApp or normal GSM. I look forward to your call, right? And I will clear your doubts and I'll help you understand how you can succeed in analytics, right? And how you can succeed using analytics, in your career, even in your current job. You can grow and you can be impactful. Okay, does this course cover things like integration with other services? Like, we're not into integration, we're into data science and data analytics stages, right? But for integration, I'm sure that we can try to look up. If you tell us what you want to integrate with what, we can try to give you good resources. For example, if you want to integrate Tableau with something else, right? Salesforce, we can give some self-help links where you can actually do that. Okay, see, the biggest thing is, that we've got a refund for 21 days. No matter where you are, no questions asked, 100% refund. So Darshan says, I really enjoyed the session. It was great. Folks, I need your help now. Okay. So the help I need is, if you like today's session, 100% free. This is our link on facebook.com. Could you click it and rate us 5 on 5, please, if you liked us, 5 on 5, and please share your comments, right? It makes a big difference when people see the quality of the webinar and the quality of what you went through today. It would mean a lot to me if you can click this Facebook page and at least rate us. Okay, okay, Meeta says sure. Hey, thanks a ton, Meeta, right? That means a lot to me. How about everybody else? Can you guys open this link, please, and share a rating with us? Okay, some Meeta says great session. Okay, Bikash says opening the link now. Yes, do rate us 5 on 5 and share your comments. Anyone else any more questions? I'd love to take your questions. Emmanuel, hi Emmanuel, how are you doing? I think you joined a little late, Emmanuel, but if you have questions, please let me know. Hi Pinky, how are you doing? Pinky, do you have any questions that I can answer, please?
Hi,
Please.
Amit.
Hi, how are you? Pinky, what are the questions I could take for you today?
I joined very late, so please what is done.
Okay. Okay, so Pinky, there's no problem. We're actually, recording the whole webinar. And so
Mm.
all you need to do is, I'm sending you a, link in the chat box. This link will have the entire webinar recording for today. And Pinky, if it's okay, just send me your number in a WhatsApp chat. I mean, in the private chat. I'm just saying hi to you now and sharing my number. And please share your number. So I'll give you a call and I'll clear your doubts separately. Okay.
Should I write over here instead you have written to Amit to privately something?
Yes, so
This
you
is
can also email me at amit@equiskill.com, or you can just put it in the private chat box. I just sent you a hello message. Okay. So you can just put
okay.
it right there, just reply to that message with your number. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I got your number as well. I got your number, Hina, as well. I'll speak to you, Hina. Okay. Any questions from anybody else who joined up a little late? Don't worry, we have the recording for you. Vignesh, Venkatesh, Vasudev, am I seeing you all tomorrow? Have you registered for tomorrow? Okay. So, Pinky, which location are you based out of? Is this an India number or a US number?
US number.
Okay, got it. So I will call you and discuss that with you in a very short while. I hope you folks have WhatsApp calls, right? So Hina and Pinky, right?
Yes, we do have.
Okay. So Vasudev says, hey, so tomorrow's class, everyone can join. Hey, don't worry about it. Please join tomorrow's class and you will love it. And then after that, you can always, join up later. The discount is valid for a few days. After that, later, there might not be a discount, Vasudev, but yes, for definitely for 2 days, the discount will be active right now. Okay. So please do join tomorrow. Thanks.
Tomorrow's class, the link is the same.
No, no. So in this Word document that you see on the screen, right on top of the Word document is a link for tomorrow's class. Do you see it now on your screen?
Yeah, I saw it, but how can I copy it? Like,
No, you just need to go to the Word doc. I'll give you the Word doc right away. Just give me a second here. Okay, here we go. There you go. Can you now copy the Word doc? Can you click on that and save this document, Pinky? Okay. Bikash, you have a question. Can I unmute you? Just a second. Let me see if I can unmute Bikash here. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, Bikash, you're unmuted. Please go ahead with your question. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. So not only forward the resumes, Bikash, I think you need to read through the feedback. So what you'll realize is that there are people that we have placed not just once, even twice. So for example, this learner here is Anjani Kunwar. He's my student. So we got him an internship and we also got him a job. So he actually works with a company called Engaged Marketing, and we, first got him an internship, and this was at Cash Care, and then he's finally joined an NPS analytics job at Engaged Marketing, and this is his feedback over here, Anjani. You go down on the same page, you'll realize that a lot of the others who actually got certified from us. For example, this one here is Parth. So Parth is now working at eBay. Okay, and the good news is, after the accelerator, we help you write your resume, right? So I have a really good format which I use to help people sort of write their resumes, their analytics resume, and it really helps them get a lot of more interview calls, right? Because we help them highlight the analytics projects and work that they've done right on top of their resumes, right? Okay. Hey, Darshan has rated us 5 stars on Facebook. Thank you so much. Darshan, yes, the classes will be 3 hours on Saturday and Sunday. Important thing, Darshan, is that, everybody, ends up missing 2 or 3 classes. Okay. I want to be honest with you. We are adults. We are all working in companies. We have lives. And it's very normal that you'll miss 2 to 3 classes. No class is usually connected to the next class. Okay. So don't worry about it. We are recording each and every class on YouTube. We'll post it as a private link and you will get access to the LMS. Not only that, you get access to 2 batches, so you can join in the next batch. In case you have challenges in the current batch, you have missed a class, you will be invited automatically for the next batch to attend those classes. Okay. Okay, more questions, folks. Vasudev, I'm seeing you tomorrow. Bikash, thank you for your questions. Hina, I'll call you. I have your number. Emmanuel, I know you joined late. Emmanuel, if you have questions, hey, please Give me your number and I'm going to call you, Emmanuel. Okay. Okay, so Pinky, I have your number. Okay, so I'm going to call you, right? So don't worry about it. And all of you can drop me a WhatsApp message, please. It would be good. The ones that that shared your number with me. This is my number, 0091. There we go. I'll actually share it with everyone. So hey, just save my number, folks, and feel free to consult me. And of course, I'm seeing you in tomorrow's class. Okay, folks, I'm going to end the webinar now. So we're going to pause the recording and I'll upload this. Right? I got your number, Hina. I got your WhatsApp number. So I'll speak to you. Right, folks. So thank you so much. Have you all rated us on Facebook in the link that I shared a short while ago? Okay, Bikash is done as well. Fantastic. All right, folks. Goodbye. Thank you so much for joining the webinar.